All right, so here's my upgrade from the stock Sylvania, the halogen lights here to the LEDs. One of the reasons for it is I also picked a slightly lighter bulb so that there wasn't as much strain. Now, to be perfectly honest, to do this correctly, I would recommend going to Renbei or Pelican Parts. And they actually have a new a wiring harness or a supplemental harness that you can replace the factory one, and that allows you to not really lose any drain. I cleaned up enough of the grounds right now, and I'll be sharing that several videos, so I'm pretty confident in these maintaining what they need to. So anyways, it's a pretty simple process, and as long as you're just replacing the bulbs, you pretty much do not have to worry about the angle that you've already had them, so you won't have to worry about aligning them. Regardless, to start, I've already done it, but the first and only screw that is holding on to the front cover is right here, and it's a kind of a large screw there, as you can see. Once you remove it, this just pops right off. And you want to just be careful. You can squeeze it on the sides here, but it's really not that easy to get to. I got to get some Gooby gun. If some of you guys are probably looking at that, I think this had some kind of a, I don't know, but this was the back end of a Velcro strap, so something must have been clinging on there. Not sure. Regardless, so you pull this guy off. And as you can see here, see the grooves there? That slides into the grooves around the edges. So it's pretty easy to take off. Now, once we've done that, the next step is to remove 3 screws. Now, you got to look very carefully. The way you can tell which ones are the correct ones is because it's just a frame. Now, you got some alignment screws there. If you've done it before, you can see the tabs on the side of it. So what you're looking for is the 3 all the way around that have no tabs around them. That is the frame for this little aluminum housing that's holding this in place. Okay, so we've removed 2 of the screws, and now I'm just going to the last one here. And once it's out, the frame holding it in place comes right off. Now, this frame does have a correct orientation, so it'd be nice if you kind of marked it. Otherwise, you just got to make sure that you spin it around until these 3 screws placements line up. But I'm just going to set it down and just kind of make sure that I know that this is the one that runs on top there. Okay. Noticing also, I hadn't done this in a while, that it actually says dot. It looks like Gila. So, you know, I'm just going to remember that marking, or where it says dot, is the one that goes on top. All right, once we're at this level, it's pretty easy to do. You just come to the back, and I'll show you here. Want to be really careful. This is really old clips. You just want to take your time. I know it looks like probably the hardest part of this whole procedure. All right, there we go. And I don't know if you saw, I already cleaned off the other one, but this car came from a very dirty, sandy area. I mean, and that's what I'm fighting as I'm pulling things apart. I'm always constantly having to turn on my air compressor and just, look at that, caked on. Get rid of all this stuff. It's everywhere. So I'm just going to do some light cleaning right here, and we'll continue. All right, so let's do the actual install. It's pretty simple. Now, I wanted to point out that this actually has day lamps option and also turn signal options. I might do the turn signal later. I actually am prepping the wiring harness for that. But at this time, since they're really pop-up lights, you're not going to get to see that. And you already have, you can't see in the camera, but directly down here, you actually have a side marker. So again, just wanted to point out that these lights do have that. Now, right here, there are 3 notches. And I really like the fact that to get this aligned correctly, you actually have to make sure that you line up those notches with these tabs here. So that's a pretty nice, nice little aspect of this upgrade here. So of course, very simple. You just, put the clips in, make sure you're not putting anything crooked in, and just slightly. And it's got to be flush, so you got to make sure. There you go. That's about right. Okay, so lined up. And again, you line up the tabs. All right, so once the clip is in place, then it's a matter of lining up these tabs with the grooves that are on here, and just for added support and just to make sure it's the right fit there. That's pretty much it. On these, it was pretty easy because the alignment, of course, would be that this bottom one would be facing down below. Once that's in place, you grab your frame, and of course we marked it, and then just the 3 small screws. All right, and then finally you have your frame here. There is, I don't know if I can see it there, but there it is down there. That is exactly where this needs to line up. And of course, the grooves and this little front tab goes right there for it to hold. So it pretty much just kind of pops into place. Well, regardless, that's pretty much it, folks. This is your LED or any light bulb upgrade, primarily. I really like the fact that I know the factory bulbs have the connection, the 3-prong connection directly on the back of the bulb, as I was kind of showing earlier. However, I really like that it's that in terms of being able to remove the unit in the future, it's going to be really easy to do. And again, we may play with that and see if I do wire those guys up. But there you go. Of course, this is an older bulb, so it doesn't do it justice. These guys, when cleaned up, are probably really nice. But if you've driven these cars at night, you know how bad they can be. So this is going to be a really, really nice. Now that it's a little more stable, I'm driving a little bit more. So driving it at night, I think it's going to be extremely, extremely nice to do. I'm going to enjoy those rides a little bit more. And that's what this is all about. As I said, keep it simple, keep them on the road. All right, guys, remember the blessing. You guys have a great one.